So today we are continuing our random facts series where we take a look at different characters and talk about facts and information that you may not know about them. So far we have covered Trainer Silver and Team Rocket, and as such I think it's the perfect time now to take a look at one of the coolest characters within the Pokemon universe and probably the most popular one, that being Trainer Red. So today we're doing just that, taking a look at the 10 secret and random facts about Trainer Red that you missed. So let's jump straight into it. So Red is of course the most well-known of the Pokemon protagonists, but did you know that Red was originally meant to be called Ash, or the Japanese name for Ash, which is Satoshi? There's one big reason for this, and that has to do with the fact that the creator of Pokemon and the franchise Pokemon is called Satoshi Tajiri, and for that reason it was originally intended for Trainer Red to use the name Ash or Satoshi, which made more sense to connect with the creators. Now, there is a cool reference to this whole thing in the official fan book of Pocket Monsters from 1997. Where Game Freak actually teased that Red would actually perhaps make an appearance in the upcoming games at the time, which were Pokemon Gold and Silver. Within this article, they actually referred to Trainer Red as Satoshi, indicating that before they sort of decided on Red to be his final name, or to be kind of the definitive name, we could have had Ash or Satoshi be the actual name of the Gen 1 protagonist, that being Red, right? And the fun fact is that Blue is also kind of a back and forth, confused as either Gary or Blue, connecting of course to the anime. But as we ended up seeing, basically Red got the name Red within the video games, and within the anime, Ash is Ash, and he's a separate character, and he goes, of course, in Japanese under the name Satoshi. Did you know that the amazing Pokemon Adventures manga, which is bloody fantastic, actually shows us the journey of Red? And that isn't really the interesting part, right? Of course, Red's going to be in the journey, but the more interesting aspect is this. Now, you would assume, since Pokemon Red, Blue, and all subsequent games, which feature sort of Kanto, have you choosing the original starters from those versions, right? Of, Red. So you'd be choosing from the original 3 of the starters. Those, of course, being Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. However, within the Pokemon manga, this is different. You would assume it would be one of the 3, but no. See, in the Pokemon manga, it is actually Poly, which is Red's Poliwhirl, that is the first Pokemon, and funny enough, it is the first Pokemon he actually gets. And it isn't even like Pikachu or Charmander or any of those Pokemon. Those don't join his team until much later. So first he got a Poliwhirl, then he actually got himself a lovely little Bulbasaur called Sar that would join him in his journey, and this little guy was given to Red by Professor Oak after he witnessed how Ash and Bulbasaur managed to defeat a Machoke that they ran into in the Viridian Forest. So I do think it's a cool little fact, right, that he didn't really start off with the generic kind of Gen 1 starters that we're used to, right, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, but instead he started with a Poliwhirl of all things. It's really strange and pretty awesome. So, while we are on the topic of the Pokemon Adventures manga, did you know that within the Pokemon Adventures manga, Trainer Red actually shares the same birth month and blood type as his main nemesis, Giovanni? So yeah, sort of random that they would share those aspects of, themselves with each other. There's almost like a cosmic link between the good and the evil that is within each of them and what they carry within their hearts. So it's sort of like interesting, right? They kind of parallels to each other. One is the good, legitimate trainer. The other one's this evil kind of, person. It's just sort of crazy and kind of a cool little detail. So, as you may have noticed, over the course of the few times you may have ran into Trainer Red within the games, he always seems very silent, right? If you fight him at the top of Mount Silver in Gen 2 or in Heart Gold Soul Silver in Gen 4, you will notice that he never really says anything, but just responds with dots, and that's about it. Now, this may be something the developers did because, well, Red never actually spoke in his original games, right? If you actually go back to Red and Blue, you only ever answer with yes or no when you play Red, as Red, and he's pretty much just a silent protagonist, which is actually something that was very popular back in the day. Nowadays, most characters have voices and they're voice acted and stuff, but back in the day, you mostly had like silent characters because there was no way to actually get proper voice acting into older games. And funny enough, it seems that Game Freak noticed that fans loved the whole mysterious silence with Red, so they kept him silent for years, all the way up until Pokemon Masters, where for the first time we ever actually got to hear Red genuinely speak within the games. And what did he tell us? Well, in his Signa Suit Red Pair story in Pokemon Masters, Red speaks the lines, "Words are unnecessary." So yeah, really, really random and strange, but hey, at least we got to hear him speak for the first time, which kind of makes the mystery less intriguing, but still pretty awesome. Did you know that Mewtwo fought alongside Red in the Pokemon manga, and Red actually caught Mewtwo with a Master Ball? So yeah, tiny spoilers for the manga here, but within the Pokemon Adventures manga, Mewtwo has the same backstory as it does in the games for the most part, right? And as the anime has. So it was basically being a clone of Mew, and Mewtwo was created of course by Team Rocket scientists and eventually destroys them all and then escapes. But in this case, it actually hides in Cerulean Cave, more akin to what it does within specifically, the Pokemon games rather. Now, what is really cool is, however, that Red shows up after some time out of curiosity to see this so-called monster of Cerulean, and he actually battles it and catches it with a Master Ball before Blaine manages to kill it, which is what he was actually trying to do initially. So Blaine was there to kill Mewtwo, not to capture it or battle it or whatever, just literally take it out, like finish it off. But however though, Red proceeds to actually catch it and then gives the Mewtwo to Blaine, but requests Blaine to teach Mewtwo compassion and love. And funny enough, a long time later, when Red is in the Sevi Islands, Mewtwo actually appears again and partners with Red to take down Giovanni in an epic battle against Giovanni and his Deoxys. And it is a truly epic moment, and honestly, like, super strange as well that all that's happening, which is why you should definitely read the manga. I've got the, first box set behind me, and it is bloody fantastic. Definitely check it out, and I definitely got to buy the other sets to read through every aspect of it. But yeah, random fact, but pretty cool to be honest. Next up, did you know that the team that Red uses in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver in the games, when you battle him at Mount Silver, is actually very much based on the in-game events from Pokemon games as well as other aspects. So first up, when you look at his starters, that being Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise, those are clearly based on the box art Pokemon from Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green, and are of course also available as starters in all three of those games. Then we have Pikachu next, which is in Red's team, but that one is also pretty clear as it's obviously a connection to Pokemon Yellow, but beyond that, it's also the default starter in that game, and on top of that, he has a Pikachu in the Adventures manga. And then again, we also have Ash with a Pikachu, which is his counterpart. Then, however, you also have another connection here, which is that all the previously mentioned starters that we just talked about, Venusaur, Blastoise, Charizard, all of those are actually available to be obtained in Pokemon Yellow as well. Then you have Lapras in his team, which is clearly a reference to the Lapras that you can obtain in Silph Co shortly before you take out Team Rocket. Then you have Snorlax, which is the last one, and this one could be a connection, of course, to how in the early Pokemon games, there is a Snorlax blocking two roots, and yeah, basically it could be a connection to that. Next up, and this actually connects to the last thing we talked about, which is the team that he uses. Now, did you know that the team that Red uses in Heart Gold and Soul Silver is almost identical to that of Ash Ketchum's team throughout his Orange Islands journey? See, the only Pokemon not matching up are Red's Venusaur and Blastoise, as they're fully evolved, whereas the rest of the team is pretty much identical, with Pikachu matching, Charizard matching, Snorlax matching, Lapras matching, and then only Bulbasaur and Squirtle are, not fully evolved, whereas Red's team has a Venusaur and Blastoise. This once again shows that there is a clear connection between the two, as they are basically counterparts to each other. So yeah, they pretty much had the same team there in those cases, except Ash just didn't evolve his Bulbasaur and Squirtle. Next up, did you know that in the Pocket Monsters manga, which is kind of a side manga, we actually get to see Ash and Pikachu wear their army outfits? So yeah, this is really strange. Now, this is mostly played in a comedic effect within the Pocket Monsters manga, but I still find it quite an odd situation, and it feels like this might have been a reference to a bit of that theory that there was a war that took place within the Kanto and Johto region. I mean, we literally have still Lieutenant Surge, who also actually makes an appearance within this part of the actual manga here. So yeah, an odd moment, I must say, but still kind of intriguing. Trainer Red in Stadium 2. So yeah, he actually makes an appearance in Stadium 2, but funny enough, he uses a totally different team from what you might expect, right? You might expect Gen 1 Pokemon, but in this case, no, he actually uses a really odd team here, which is really, really strange, and actually changes even in the second half. So first, in the first round, he uses a Meganium for Alligator and Typhlosion, so basically, he uses the Generation 2 starters, but he also has in his team filled it up with a Jolteon, Scizor, and Tauros. So again, really odd from what you might expect from Trainer Red, but that's not all though. In round 2, he actually uses a Raikou, Entei, Suicune, Dragonite, Snorlax, and Espeon, which again, super strange. Now, the only two here that make a lot of sense with him are Snorlax and Espeon, right? Because you could kind of make connections to them to the other stuff, but everything else is just totally out of the blue, so really, really odd. And the last and the biggest secret of them all, we are all Trainer Red. Okay, listen, yeah, I know, this is a cop-out, I get it, right, you're gonna get pissed off, but I apologize. But really, think about it, we all took on the mantle of red in our journeys through Kanto, and as such, it does make sense that we are all technically part of who Red is and his identity, right? Because without us as players, his journey sort of wouldn't have really happened, right? If we didn't take on the mantle of Red or played as Red and went through that journey through Kanto, well, would his journey really exist today? I don't think so. But yeah, that's why I put this one at the last spot on the list. So that is the end of the video. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and I guess that is all I can do for today and say for today. I do hope you enjoyed it. Then if you did, make sure to subscribe and leave a like down below, and if we can get to, let's say, 800 likes, we will do another video. And in the next video, what would you like to see? Because we can either go for Trainer Blue, or maybe you want to see Trainer Gold covered. So who do you want to see next? Trainer Blue, Trainer Gold? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.